So you have a closet full of clothes but nothing to wear. I feel like this is a sentiment that I most certainly can relate to, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. As a regular to my channel, you might know that I kind of got pretty deep into fast fashion back in like 2018, 2019. Before that, I hadn't really been a huge shopper. I was way more comfortable with the clothes I had, but after developing the shopping addiction for a couple of years and again shopping fast fashion to be able to sustain, afford and maintain it, after a couple of years I was left with much clothes but not that much that excited me or that I wanted to wear, and just in general a huge mixture of clothing that maybe didn't even go so well together, and it would have maybe been easy to just jump back to my old style, go back to my roots, so to speak, but a lot happens in 2 years and a lot changes, especially so your style. And as someone who moved to a completely different country and were like in the middle of my 20s, I was doing a lot of developing and also on my personal style, so I couldn't really just like go back. I sort of had to start from scratch and sort of analyze and assess what the heck I was doing wrong, since I had all of this clothing that was basically without any use or value in my eyes. Since then, I have been on a quite successful journey to a smaller and better wardrobe, and if you're a regular to my channel, that of course is the journey that you have been following. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things I have learned, because at this moment in time, even just like a year and a half into this journey, my clothing is full of things that I just really want to wear, and most of the things go together. I think one of the main reasons that we feel like we have nothing to wear in our wardrobe is because we get quite bored with the clothing. And I think one of the reasons we get bored is because once you are in this cycle of shopping a lot and not necessarily really assessing what you do and do not like about the clothing that you buy, you tend to rely a lot on newness to make your clothes feel good. And that's quite simply because most new clothes is going to feel good no matter where it comes from. You're gonna feel new and exciting whenever you put something on that you just bought, and you can get caught in this cycle, and that is certainly what happened to me, where you need new stuff all the time to kind of like chase that high or that feeling of looking good, and again just relying on newness to do so. Obviously, newness is fleeting because nothing stays new for long, and if there's not much else than the piece of clothing being new that really excites you, obviously as soon as the novelty of that fact has worn off, you're back to scratch, and every time you add something to that cycle, you end up with a bunch of stuff that is no longer new and that is not interesting. And I think something that saved me from this loop and helps me now adding clothing that I want to wear again and again is I cracked the code of what is valuable to me in clothing. I feel when it comes to clothing, there are a few truths that makes clothes more valuable. The main one probably being whether or not clothing will last, like whether it's well made so that if you find something you like, you can actually wear it again and again without it like peeling and falling apart. But of course, not even this matters if you're not interested in the item only after wearing it very shortly. And something else that really helped me in knowing whether I would keep an item around or not was assessing what perceived value was important to me in clothing. This is really individual. We can't shame or judge each other for not adhering to the same value system that we do. I found something that is really valuable to me, perceived, is having clothing that is made from almost exclusively natural fibers, things like cotton, wool, cashmere. Sort of knowing what I know about these fabrics and owning them gives me this sense of joy that a piece made from polyester or acrylic just can't. Something else that is also important to me, or just something I'm picking up on, is if I have something in my closet that I can wear again and again and again without needing much care, that is also just automatically an article of clothing that I will put a lot of perceived value onto. And once you have something that sort of like takes up all the boxes of your personal value system, it gets really hard to want to wear something new over it. Because once you start to have a wardrobe filled with things that truly speak to your style and your values, new for the sake of newness just does not cut it anymore. Perceived value, of course, is different to all of us. If you are someone who is very much into secondhand shopping or feel as if perceived value to you might be buying something that already has a history before you, so that you know that you are picking something off the rack that would have otherwise ended on a landfill. To others, perceived value might be having something that is really rare or custom made. Whatever it is, figuring out what you appreciate about the items you have right now that do get wear again and again can really help you go very far in figuring out what you should be looking for in your clothing going forward, so that you can sort of stop that cycle of needing to rely on newness to want to wear your clothes. Now we're straying a little bit away from the subject, but something that I have found has been like the most important thing and like the stepping stone in figuring out what to buy for my wardrobe is coming up with a color scheme that really suits you and that you really like. Of course, the basis of any color scheme is whether or not you are a cool or a warm toned person. And after that, creating a color scheme and getting yourself used to only being able to buy within this realm of colors that you know that you will wear. And also, if you need to tailor your closet to fit every single color under the rainbow, you will end up with a lot of pieces that just does not go very well together, and it will feel really organized, and thus it will make you feel as if you have nothing to wear, just because in your mind it's gonna be much harder to come to a conclusion of what a good outfit might look like in your wardrobe. So once you narrow that down so that you have a myriad of colors that generally complement each other, putting together an outfit and just being able to imagine and create outfits in your head before they appear on your body as you wear them can be immensely helpful as well. Building some sort of cohesion within your wardrobe, often starting with colors, which is definitely the easiest stepping stone, even if it might be hard to sort of come to the conclusion that there are some colors you just won't be able to wear at all, at the very least, until you have like a much better base for your wardrobe. Decision fatigue is definitely real. Just means that when you have too much choice in any general area of life, you're making things much harder for yourself. So often getting comfortable with your style and feeling as if you have something to wear is to narrow down what you will allow yourself to wear and get rid of all the excess, and all of a sudden you're just gonna start feeling much more like abundant in what you already have, even if it's less. And then of course, which is what I have been doing, first you declutter down and then you sort of assess what you like, what perceived value in clothing is all about to you, what colors you are willing to commit to for a time being, even if you want to add more colors later on, and sort of being able to spend a lot more attention and get a closer relationship to the pieces in your wardrobe that really works for you, that you do want to wear again and again, means that you can sort of assess why that is, so that you can buy for that or like repeat that process the next time you go buying something. And with time, you are going to have a wardrobe that is filled with things that you just want to wear. And it's going to help you shop less, because generally if you have something to wear, you're at the very least not buying out of necessity or out of, again, like feeling as if none of what you have in your closet really suits you, or not even about suiting you, it's about the fact that literally it does not hold any perceived value to you, or you would be wearing it. Sort of once you are able to narrow some of these things down, it gets much clearer to you what you do and do not like, and you will completely naturally start to discard, and when shopping, being less attracted to some of the pieces that before you might have just felt looked cute, and you want to give that a try and feel like you looked cute in that for a day or two, but that feeling is just so quickly going to fade when you are not really sure what you like about an item, and ultimately it might not feel like you long term, it only felt like you short term, again because you're relying on that feeling of newness in the item to give you a kick and helping you having something to wear for a very short time, only to add to the pile of clothing that just makes absolutely no sense for you long term. When I was at the height of my shopping addiction, or when I stopped it and I realized I had this problem, it was a very gross feeling of having to rid myself of a couple of like bags of clothing that I had bought just within the past year or two, simply because it made absolutely no long-term sense for me. And so I ended up having invested my money, the resources of the planet, into this project, and I ended up with nothing, where now I have it completely differently. Of course, I still make mistakes. Shopping shouldn't only be an analytical process. Ultimately, it is about expressing ourselves and being creative, at least for many of us, and myself included, but there has to be some sort of balance where you know what you like and you can be creative, because if all you do is adding things to the pile of clothes and you're not really sure why, you're gonna waste so much money, time and effort, and bad emotions as well on building up a closet that just makes no sense. One thing that I do, which you will of course know if you are regular to my channel, and I don't necessarily suggest you do it, but I write down what I wear every single day, and that way I truly get to see what is actually reached for in my closet, how fast I get the times of wear up for certain articles of clothing, and what ultimately will just hang out in my wardrobe collecting dust and guilt because I will never get around to wear it. And once I sort of have bought something and I realize that it has taken that place in my closet, I will quite quickly assess what went wrong to make sure that I get even better at making decisions for my wardrobe in the future, and then I will find a way to like respectfully pass that item on so that it doesn't sit in my wardrobe and makes no sense. Always exclusively at this point by finding a new owner, finding someone that will appreciate the mistake that I had made for my wardrobe. If you like this video, please don't hesitate giving it a thumbs up so that I know. It really does help out my channel. And if you're here for the first time, not already subscribed, then consider doing that, because I make videos like this one all the time and I would love to keep you around. Thanks for watching, guys, and